Big Mom is my second favorite One Piece villain because I just love the trope of this stereotypical, terrifying old woman, and she is arguably the second most powerful and threatening foe the Straw Hat Pirates ever faced in their pirate careers. But I'm not here to discuss powers and abilities, and etc. In today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at our favorite chubby granny. So what I mean by this, I'm gonna go over Big Mom's many appearances and analyze her importance in the story. Let us wait no more and jump right into it. So by this point into One Piece, it's no surprise to anyone that Oda is fond of teasing big baddies way before they actually become a big deal or a major antagonist for the Straw Hats to take down. And Big Mom is no exception, making her debut on chapter 651 following the defeat of Holy Jones. Some Big Mom pirates make their way to the Fishman Island to collect their 10-ton shipment worth of sweets in exchange for Big Mom's protection, but back on Zembaron Tamago are greeted with concerning news. Turns out Luffy had eaten all 10 tons of sweet promised to Big Mom, and he shamelessly and stupidly admitted so.
Not a great plan.
And then he is reminded the logo adorning the candy factory is the Jolly Roger of Charlotte Ling Ling, Big Mom, meaning the Fishman Island is Big Mom's territory. We get to learn a little bit about the place in which Big Mom resides. On Island Whole Cake in Totoland, a ferocious shady face is revealed, expressing that she is looking forward to tasting from many of the sweet shipments that were fruit of her many deals across all corners of the New World. And when it was reported that in one account they haven't been able to produce the agreed upon amount of sweets, we discover Big Mom's obsession would go so far as to destroy entire nations over desserts. Posteriorly, she hears the Fishman Island sweets aren't coming. Riled up, she places a call to the Fishman Island wanting to know what the hell is going on. Naturally, Big Mom's underlings did not want to face her wrath. They stalled so much that Luffy picked up the phone and disrespectfully responds to have been the one to eat her 10 tons of sweet, but he solicits to giving all the treasure he claimed at the Fishman Island to repay for her loss. Big Mom recognizes Luffy as Garp's grandson. She knows Garp from back when he, along with Gold Roger, had overthrown the Rocks pirates, of which she was a part. Big Mom replies to Luffy, saying she cannot feed on treasure and she'd rather have her yummy sweets. This moment is quite telling, as when you're Yonko, you can afford to throw away hundreds of millions in money just to get sweets instead, but they're pirates, so that doesn't matter. And as powerful as Big Mom is, she can loot anything from anyone she wants. Anyways, Baron Tamago asks Big Mom to reconsider, as the treasure could be useful to restore the ships sunk by Captain Kidd, but he's angrily dismissed by Big Mom. Big Mom is very clearly a vengeful person, as she says she is now targeting her anger at Luffy, and she challenges him to come to the New World and meet with her. Luffy shows no fear of the Yonko and says he's gonna kick her butt and announce that the Fishman Island is his territory. Transitioning over to the Whole Cake Island arc, one thing is made apparent. Big Mom suffers from something very akin to a drug addiction, only it's food instead of drugs. Like when her cake is completely ruined by Luffy destroying the only thing that could sate Big Mom's urge of eating a wedding cake, driving her to having the munchies. When she talks, her pupils take on a spiral appearance, and she often breaks out in anger because she doesn't have a specific food readily available. An anticipated moment in the story of Big Mom rests on chapter 866, which sheds some light on what Big Mom's life used to be like during her childhood. So at the island home of the warriors of Elbaf, a 5-year-old Charlotte Ling Ling is talking to her parents, and from what we've seen from Big Mom up until this point, you'd think she'd been born to a family of giants, right? But right away you can see the size discrepancy between her and her parents is huge. So she's been taken to Elbaf, and in hopes to get rid of her, her parents just leave her there, forcing her into exile as punishment for all the destruction she caused, which floods the minds of the readers with questions such as, how can this lovely child be capable of such ruination? Ling Ling's parents are not happy with this decision, but they acknowledge Ling Ling was just too much for them. Charlotte Ling Ling seems unaware of all the chaos and problems she is responsible for, acting nonchalantly the whole time, as if there's another ulterior personality lying deep down inside her. We see Big Mom's parents in no more than 3 panels, although I think it's safe to assume they are pretty decent people, and seem to have provided all their love and support to Ling Ling on her formative years. However, that wasn't enough to repress her destructive tendencies. The giant warriors of Elbaf terrified the world over 100 years in the past, and humanity's response to their heinous crime moms were more violence and reprimandment, which averred strongly with the conspicuous diplomatic approach of Sister Carmel, who spoke up against the execution of the giant pirates, and advised the Marines to avoid being the target of the giants' revenge by sparing the indicted giants' lives. In time, she founded an orphanage and became Mother Carmel. The orphanage took in children without anywhere else to go. Ling Ling had been taken into this orphanage by the kind Mother Carmel, who cheered her up, telling she could stay there until her parents came back. The grudge and negativity gained from the traumatic experience of being forsaken cemented into the other kids' heads that Ling Ling's parents are not coming back. Given Ling Ling's whopping stature, the accommodations of regular-sized humans could not comfort her. Therefore, Elbaf was the adequate choice of place to send her to. The other kids at the orphanage began to express concern over Ling Ling's out-of-the-ordinary strength, as in an attempt to make a bear and a wolf become friends. She killed the bear with one punch because it ate the wolf, and she thought fighting was bad, but she felt guilt because she didn't do it with a killing intent. Ling Ling also badly injured an adult giant when she tried to smack a mosquito that landed on his body, and broke several of his bones. Mother Carmel remarks to the children that Ling Ling's seemingly reckless acts are for good ends. When sated, Ling Ling's behavior didn't stray much away from an ordinary child's, always frolicking, bantering, and interacting with the other orphan kids. So as long as she had enough to eat, there was nothing to worry about. Then the news of the 12-day fast came to Ling Ling, which gets her to ponder upon the daunting prospect of going hungry for that long. But she quickly forgets about it when she hears that the preparations for the 12-day fast is getting the nutrients necessary to withstand the 12 days of privation by consuming a cream-stuffed bread named semla. And sure enough, Ling Ling basks in the sweet treats and falls in love with it. When the day of the actual fast arrives, the sweet she'd eaten acted like a highly addictive drug, causing Ling Ling to have an abstinence crisis that doomed the entire village of Elbaf. Chief Joru added Ling Ling does not have the right to thank the sun, and he apologizes to Carmel for attacking Ling Ling, saying she only looks like a child on the inside, but she is actually a god of disaster. At this point, Ling Ling had already turned into a monster, breaking the blade of Joru's sword, grabbing him by the beard and tossing him around like it's the easiest thing in the world. It took several giants many times her size to restrain her, and Mother Carmel was forced to interfere by infusing the fire with soul fragments, humanizing it. Ling Ling only stopped when she was given the semla and fell asleep. Chief Beardhue thought of seizing the chance to kill her on the spot. Were it not for the peaceful Mother Carmel, there wouldn't be Big Mom in the current storyline. Ling Ling now was a sworn enemy of the giants. Mother Carmel took her and the other children to live at another House of Lambs away from the giants' villages. Later, it is revealed the motives behind Mother Carmel's kindness and willingness to take care of the children at the House of Lambs. She was in reality a greedy orphan seller whose code name was Mountain Hag. She played a holy mother to sell the liveliest orphans to the government. Carmel said in her 50 years in the kid-selling business, Ling Ling is the finest product she ever had. Ling Ling continued to live a happy life until on the day she would be gifted with the best birthday of her life, everyone just disappeared in the blink of an eye. Big Mom to this day doesn't understand why or how Mother Carmel disappeared, but she doesn't appear to hold any grudges against Mother Carmel for having abandoned her, as she breaks down in tears when Brooke wrecks the only picture of her Big Mom has. On the day Ling Ling was abandoned, two people were present. One was a giant warrior of Elbaf, and the other was a failed practical cook who ended up in the island. His name was Truzen, and he took care of Big Mom with his ability to turn any object into food, which he gained after eating the cook fruit. And it was the two of them who launched the Big Mom pirates. From that point onward, Charlotte Ling Ling would grow up without the proper guidance a child would need to mature into a respectable human being, wreaking havoc across the world in the name of Mother Carmel's lie of creating a land of dreams where everyone is equal. And despite that being a lie, I doubt Mother Carmel wanted to convey a dictatorship would be imperative for this land to be considered the ideal place to live. As an adult, Big Mom doesn't worry about her husbands, because they mean nothing to her now. She only married them by kidnapping and having children, and later abandoning them. She also never allowed them to hold their own children, and taught her children to treat them as outsiders daughters because they were not blood related to her. She didn't hesitate to allow any of her children to kill her ex-husbands, just as she allowed Cracker to kill Pound. Big Mom doesn't care much about her children either, because during her eating disorder, she had no hesitation to taking their lifespans, and she failed to justify letting her children get bullied in their childhood. Big Mom has no hesitation in forcing her daughters into marriage to gain power in her crew. In fact, she uses one of her favorite daughters in a rigged marriage to kill the leaders of these families, to bring their entire army and power to her own. Due to the similarities between Anana, Ling Ling's youngest daughter, and her mother, she is strongly supported by Big Mom for her psychopathy of mutilating her stuffed animals with knives. Lola is the black sheep of the Charlotte family because she refused to go through with an arranged marriage and left to find a husband of her own choosing. Prior to leaving, Lola told Charlotte Pudding, her sister, not to worry about her, certain that their mother would not try to kill her. However, that did not prove to be true at all, as Big Mom is often sending assassins in search for her whereabouts to kill her. Big Mom even abused Chiffon on the grounds that she resembles Lola in appearance. Plus, Chiffon is now hated by her mother as well for her association in Bad's failed assassination plot against Big Mom. Despite this lack of consideration towards her offspring, if a powerful children of hers were to be defeated, she'd show rage to deal with the latter. Big Mom and Kaido used to be in the same crew, called the Rocks Pirates. When Luffy claimed he's going to defeat Kaido, Big Mom acknowledges Kaido's powers, saying that Luffy doesn't stand a chance against Kaido. Kaido doesn't show enough respect for Big Mom, calling her a notebag, and during one of their conversations through a call, Big Mom asks him not to kill Luffy. Kaido refused and threatened to kill her if she ever entered Wano. Big Mom is not afraid and comes to Wano anyways, so Kaido orders his men to sink her ship before the full-scale war breaks out. When Big Mom's escorted to Onigashima, she and Kaido form an alliance after fighting for a whole night. Their goal was to conquer the world by finding the ancient weapons in the One Piece and waging a war against the world, towards which Big Mom expressed a great deal of excitement. Kaido and Big Mom's relationship is very inconsistent, much like his siblings, as it's clear that she views Kaido as her younger brother, thanks to their experience together as members of the Rocks Pirates. Back then, Ling Ling was surprised by Kaido's young age and offered him her advice, saying not to trust rocks. Big Mom's disdain for Eustace Kid is later expressed in the form of mockery and belittlement, and she's so accustomed to being the most powerful among everyone else that she now has no doubts in her mind that all others are afraid of her. But she grew frustrated trying to steal the souls of her opponents on two occasions. One in one of the most badass moments in all of One Piece, when Jinbe stands tall against a demonic-looking Big Mom using her devil fruit powers, Soru Soru no Mi, and the other one is when she does the same thing against Law and Kid, who acted like it was just a minor nuisance. Beyond being a neglectful mother, a haughty and dislikable old lady, she is also a deceitful person towards those who've never done her any bad, as she was plotting to have Sanji and the V-Smoke killed in order to claim the Germa technology to herself and expand her military power. Ultimately, Big Mom faces her quite literal downfall at the hands of Kid and Law. She never once conceded defeat in her entire life, always swearing vengeance on her offenders and letting the latter know of her return. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing, leaving a like rating on it, sharing this video on so more One Piece fans can enjoy it, and of course hit the bell to get notified of more videos just like this one. That's it for today, guys. See you next time.